It is time for the last Cheltenham Matchbook Horse Racing podcast. I feel sad saying it because this is the last one we're doing this week. We are going to have Twitter Spaces throughout the week. Welcome along, everyone. Twitter Spaces throughout the week. If you don't know what they are, I'm not going to explain them now, but you'll see them floating around on Twitter. You want to use your mobile for it. That's going to be 11 a.m. each day. I'll be on track. We'll have set guests each day to give you their latest up-to-date thoughts on each of the 4 days of the Cheltenham Festival 2025. But this is the last preview where we're tying up our thoughts and we're maybe covering a bit of new ground with new information that has come to light. For example, Quebec declared in a hood, that sort of thing. We've got day 1 and 2 decks, so we'll go through those in detail. We'll also have the final couple of days just previewing those. Please do like, follow, and subscribe wherever you're listening. The best, no-cost way of supporting our content. And check out insights.matchbook.com for a recap of all the bets that go up. We've got loads of Cheltenham content, including the Matchbook Cheltenham Trail on YouTube, on your preferred podcast app as well. So there's lots to get stuck into. There's lots to digest, but this is the final preview we're going to do. And I'm delighted to be welcomed by out-and-out Cheltenham expert, probably the greatest Cheltenham mind there is, Micheál Deasy, and a huge, huge Gaelic football fan, Matt Tombs. Have I got that? Is that right? That's right. You love the GA, don't you? Don't you, Tombsy?
Yeah, that is a real man's game as well, though, isn't it? That hurling. Jeez.
Yeah. Right, there's a sign-up offer as well, which you can see on your screen. If you're listening, I'll give it to you now. So you need to enter the code POD50. You get £50 in free bets when you bet 50. So you need to enter the code POD50 for new customers. When you do sign up, you'll see all the T's and C's there. But it's basically a £50 welcome offer. £50 in free bets when you bet 50. Use POD50 in order to take advantage of that. All right, Tuesday we go. The Michael O'Sullivan Supreme Novices Hurdle, first of all. Matt Tombs, we know something else now, and that is that Kopek de Board is going to look to be the third winner ever for Willie Mullins declared in a hood at the Cheltenham Festival.
Yeah, and I'm starting to get a bit twitchy about him. When post DRF, it was just a real wow factor, and yeah, he looks a banker. So I started thinking about Willie's hot pots in this. You appreciate it, Duvan, Viteur, Champagne Fever, all pretty professional types. Classical Dream was a keen going type, and he got the job done. But horses like Get a Bird and Dysart Dynamo, too keen and fell in a hole.
Mystical Power would be
unprofessional type.
Sorry, Matt. Mystical would be another. Mystical Power, was it last year? Was that another obvious one?
Yeah, absolutely. And not many of them actually win. And Kopek de Board is not just a keen goer in the race. He seems to have a bit of an issue with the preliminaries as well. So you've got two things he's got to get through at a short price. So yes, he's the best horse in the race. In an ideal situation, you just wait and see, if you can, betting wise, how he takes the preliminaries. If he boils over, you want to have a plan for what you jump ship to. I like work ahead. Couple of things that have happened since we discussed him at the anti-post show is form keeps getting franked. William Money, Jacob's Ladder, who was beaten nearly a distance, has won a grade 3 recently. And he's also strong in the market in the run-up. It's especially important with Henry's horses. So if you want to have a bet now, I think he's a good win and place market bet against the favourite. But ideally, you wait and see how Kopek de Board takes the preliminaries.
So 2.06 there, 2.06 Kopek de Board. I mean, that made my decision for me, which is that, I really expected this horse on the form of last time to be shorter than that. I know the hood is a concern. It has to be. And also hooded horses, I think headgear horses in this race have just got a terrible record. But just on that raw ability, I feel like if you're getting 2.0 or bigger, I want him on side as opposed to opposing him. And I haven't really made my mind up about the rest, which I feel like is a proper the rest as opposed to what Kopek de Board can do. So I want him on side at 2.0. It's very price relative, but that's the price I want him on board at. Incidentally, welcome along, everyone. We've got a good few comments coming in. Martin says, Slurricane each way the Boodles handicap. I think it's not the Boodles anymore. Been that for Ross Sullivan, Kate Walsh. Cheltenham Master says, I feel like the Badger at the start of mating season. And Dale says, are you due to be culled? That's lovely. But let's hope you make it through the week, Cheltenham Master. Dale's very excited. Welcome along, everyone. Keep your comments coming in. DC, you're with Matt, aren't you?
1.01 landed before the meeting even started.
Yes, I am with Matt. And it's very much a price thing as well. Like they both ran on the same card at Christmas, and they had almost the exact same time for the race, pretty much the exact same time from the second last home. Work Ahead was actually just a small bit faster from the last one home, but Kopek the board was kind of pulled up. Work Ahead was carrying £5 more. So just on that bare farm, I think they should be closer together. The money is coming for Work Ahead as well, and Kopek the board has slightly drifted. And like the Willie thing, Willie has the exact same amount of winners in the Supreme the last 10 years as Nicky Henderson. They've 3 each. It's not like he wins it every single year. He has a sharp price favourite every year. I think there is probably a lot more upside back in Work Ahead than back in Kopek the board.
All right, let's move on to the Arkle. I will park this as part of a day one double, which is my best bet, which is obvious. I'm supporting Majborough. Matt, you put Majborough 1.62, and DC, you're looking for a forecast. I just want to check you make, as we can have a look at the prices. Majborough 1.6 now, Lotus at 6.2, Django Bay 9.0, bigger prices thereafter. You make the horse a bet at that, Matt?
Absolutely. I think he's the most likely winner of the whole week. And I can't believe he's this sort of price. Just looking at some of the other winners, Duvan was up against Sizing John, Grade 1 winning hurdler, had been third in the Supreme. Alcher was up against a bit less, but Charbel had been fifth in that White Hot Supreme. They were 4s on, 1.25, and yet he's about 1.6, and he's got nothing to beat. So it really does look bar an accident. I mean, the second favourite's Loda Sud, who's an exposed 138 rated hurdler, who'd been primed for the county, shown his ability of how fast he could run over hurdles. So I think it is bar an accident. And looking at the record, 7 of the last 13 Arkles had odds-on shots. All bar Simonsig won by 6 lengths or more. He did everything wrong, pulling hard and making mistakes, still won pretty easily. So, yeah, I absolutely make him a bet at that. Either you take the view that that's a fantastic price, get stuck on. If you don't like odds-on shots, just have him as the cornerstone of your ACCA.
The other point that Dan Skelton made to me is that, or has made openly, is that he loves Loda Sud, but he's aware, I think there was 7 seconds between the consecutive races last year, the Triumph and the County. And I think that's probably at the back of his mind that maybe Majborough is that bit better horse. I do get that impression for all he loves his. I think he'll be surprised if they beat it. DC.
Yeah, like Majborough was, I think he was the only horse that I watched at Dublin Race Festival. I just went, "Jeez, this is unbelievable." It was so good. In a festival where there was plenty of shorties that won by a distance, I just thought he was different level altogether. And I'm going to play a forecast with him coming first and Django Bay second. Loda Sud is a very good horse, but I think Django Bay's form is better. In the December meeting there, beat Springwell Bay very easily, 6.5 lengths. Springwell Bay is a decent horse, and coming second to Handstands the last time heavy ground at Sandown, I don't think that's really a negative. Handstands is a proper horse and will probably win easily at the Aintree Festival. I just think he's probably got better form in the book than Loda Sud, and I can see him coming second to Majborough. So that's how I'll play this race. While Majborough will be in all the doubles and trebles and everything else going on today.
Dale makes a good point. Was a 2-horse race, and now Sir Gino's out. People say that Majborough may not win. Strange. Lump on. Move on to our first of our handicaps. This is the ultimate handicap. Chase, I'll come in first because I effectively set the last one out. I'm still with Broadway Boy. Just sort of I given his profile, I can't really not have him on board. He's perfect for this course and distance. Loves it here. He had an issue with a leg last time. Prior to that, he was just touched off at Newbury in a good race, and I thought the run before that was very much a prep run. So I guess you might look at it and say, well, he hasn't got his head in front this season. But 150, like, is he a gold couples? No. Could he cut it in Grade 1 company at the back end of last year? No. But is he good enough to win this off 150? I think definitely. And I think 9.0 win and place is very fair. For all I could have about 10 others on on show. I almost wish they put the cheek pieces back on because of the headgear stat for this race, but there we are. I don't know if there's much in that. Katai Dore 9.8, Broadway Boy 9.6 in there. Sorry, I missed the top of the market. I don't think anything's anyone's putting up bang at the top, are we? Who are you with? Matt Tombs, first of all. No, 14.0 shot.
Yeah, whistle stop tour. Case for him is fairly straightforward. Lucinda Russell, trained novice, won this twice with Correct Rambler, as we know, excels with staying chasers. He jumps, he stays. Been well campaigned to get a mark of 136 here. He's won both his handicaps around 3 miles, 124, 130. Both times shaping like he'd improved for a stiffer test. Lucinda actually had him in the Midlands National, which shows you how well she thinks he'll stay. And he's had the 2 runs over intermediate trips to qualify. The latter was in typically hot renewal of that novice handicap on trials day. So importantly, he looks professional. Be optimistic, a lack of experience won't catch him out. He looks to stay well. That's crucial here. Real test of stamina. They tend to go quickly. 10 of the last 19 winners had run in a marathon. 6 had run 4 miles or more. So you want a horse that stays, because it's more of a staying test here because of the pace they go, with it being the jockey's first ride for many of them. So I think he's, like Tom says, there are quite a few you could like at the front of the market, but he seems decent win and place value.
And Matt and I are avoiding Ferro Bamboo this year at the Cheltenham Festival, who lines up over 3 miles, and we were adamant he doesn't get 2.5. There you go. Micheál Deasy.
The first one is Krabilly. He was my nap for my handicap nap for the plate. Look, he's obviously been brought back this year. He was supposed to have stones in hand last year, was unlucky not to win. Comes back here down a few pounds. He's only had 1 run at this kind of trip. That was at Aintree at the back end of last season, but he could have been over the top then. I just think it's interesting he's in here. And look, connections. John O'Neill is having his best year since 2013. This is the first time he's had over £1 million in prize money. He's good horses this year. Our first time over £1 million since 2013-14. So he's got good horses in the stable. Great record in this race. You know, you remember him winning with Hollywell and that kind of stuff not so long ago. It's only since Dex really that I kind of came to him, but I think he has a massive chance. But I'm going to back him win only, because I think he'll either win or he'll probably stay on in 6th or 7th or 8th. Then he might finish out the race. The other one then is another horse I put up there last week in the handicap one was the Short Go for Henry de Bromhead. Finished 2nd over course and distance in the October meeting behind senior chief, a stablemate, ahead of Broadway Boy. Dosino Lemilas. It was just the 2 of them are well clear. I think they finished 10 lengths clear of the horse and third Broadway Boy. She had another run in I think it was the Tri-Town the week after that, but fell and has been put away since. Probably wants better ground, I think. Last thing's going in her favour. She's big price. She's about 22.0 at the moment. Rachel Blackmore on board. I'll have her as a in each way bet in place.
All right. It's the first of the handicaps done. The Ultima, 4 different horses going up there. Mare's Hurdle next. So I mean, none of us are going with Lossiemouth. How are you playing it? And just your view on Lossiemouth, Matt, because she's now been declared for this race.
Yeah, this has gone from a really intriguing betting contest to a horrible betting event now, because she's a penalty kick if she's over a full and they're simply pot hunting. But if she's not, then she's vulnerable. And even if you want to back something else, it's very difficult. So the way I'm going to play it is to go in the without Lossiemouth market, take that factor out. The one I like is Carla Conti. She was part of a vintage juvenile crop last season, came back 1 off 130 at Down Royal, second to the Could Be Anything Amsterdam. And then she was up against July Flower at Christmas, her first time beyond 2 miles won. This was over 2.5. She was conceding July Flower £5, and they went really quickly. Jatara, who's a good mare, Deasy's going to talk about, who was up with the pace, folded, and she stays 3 miles. She won the Yorkshire Rose recently. July Flower's in the right position out the back. Yeah, the last flight was out, made a big difference with a real stamina test. And July Flower had been beaten less than 3 lengths in the French Champion Hurdle over an extended 3-mile one. Now, with the tempo of French races, that doesn't quite translate. But even so, up against Carla Conti, who'd just been running around 2 miles, it very much suited her. So I think Carla Conti's got every chance of turning the tables, more emphasis on jumping and speed. I want to take Lossiemouth out of the equation, and about 7.5 in the without Lossiemouth market. I think she's a decent bet.
I'll just jump in on Carla Conti because somebody put me on there before she'd run last year, and I thought she might be a runner in a triumph. Then obviously you didn't see it after February. I think she's really interesting as well. I will back her because she's a fair old price. But the main bet is Jade de Grugy at 6.0. Like, I just think she's a bit of a bet to nothing. I just don't. If Lossiemouth's good enough and backed, over the fall. And that's a point that a lot of trainers in particular have made about this. This is a mare having had a crunching fall last time, and it really can affect them. So if she's not over it, then I think Jade. If she goes and wins, fine. But Jade de Grugy win place, I think it's just why not? DC.
This is probably a ground dependent pick. I think Jatara is way too big a price as an each way bet, win place bet. Probably not to win, but I can see her definitely running into third or fourth, maybe second. She started off the season winning a listed race at Limerick, and then ran in the Corla, won and that again on good ground and yielding ground. There were excuses given for Navan that she was in season. Again, look, she ran fine there at Christmas, but she was given a bit of a break and came back and won over 3 miles at Doncaster with headgear put on her for the first time. She's always been fairly high class. She went off nearly second favourite, I think, to Dancing City in the Dublin Racing Festival last year after a really impressive win at Christmas. I think she's overpriced at the price. She's 34.0. So I'm going to play her place only, probably for 4 places and 3 places on Matchbook.
All right, now the champion, Constitution Hill. Let's get the prices up for this champion hurdle. We've got a team steam here. 1.72 Constitution Hill. Brighter Days Ahead 3.35. State Man 12.5. First time cheap pieces. Bigger prices thereafter. So, well, it's part of my day one double. I'll come back to this, but Constitution Hill, I have very much on side. I just don't see DC how Brighter Days Ahead, who got beat by Golden Ace here last year. And I think that has to be a massive concern. I'm not having it for a minute that she was outspeeded. She was just way below par on her sole Cheltenham run. Like, she's way better than she showed 12 months ago. That's a niggling doubt for me. And even if she was 100%, I think you've got to ask yourself, is Brighter Days Ahead a better mare than Annie Power was? Absolutely not at the moment. Would Constitution Hill beat Annie Power? For me, yes. I just can't. I can't have him beat.
Yeah, I think he will absolutely demolish them. I think he's the best ever. He's the best horse I've ever seen since I was following racing. I think, and definitely best hurdler. And there's too much made of how what happened. He was only off for a year. He wasn't off for for a year and a half, and he only missed half a season really. He's been brought back perfectly well. Nicky Henderson has done this before with horses that had with Sprinter Sacra, brought him back. I think he will win by lengths. Absolutely destroyed him. I don't even care about who's going to come second or anything. I mean, at the price is there now 1.7. That's a bet. He will never go off that price again.
Matt, what do you want to add?
Just on the question of Brighter Days Ahead, perhaps she's one of those horses who is miles better off a really strong gallop and can't sprint off a crawl. Remember Rooster Booster in this? He was absolutely brilliant when into Sky Falcon went off very quickly. Then he ran in loads of small field conditions races where they went steadily, and he was £20 below that form. So you could just about make a case for her on that basis, but otherwise I agree with you, lads. I trust Nicky Henderson. I don't think he's been vaguely fit so far, and crucially the vibes are really good. Sometimes the vibes from Seven Barrows are completely worth ignoring, but in this case they are really, really convincing. And I think we'll look back about 4:10 tomorrow and go, how on earth they go off about 1.72?
Okay, moving on. Simple as that. I love it when Cheltenham's simple. Moving on from the from the champion hurdle, we've got the Fred Winter. Nothing from you, Matt. Take it away, Dees.
Yeah, look, Beyond Your Dreams, put him up on the handicap one as well last week. I think, look, won't want it really soft ground. I don't think it's going to be really soft ground. Just looks really well handicapped. Just had the bare few runs to qualify. Looked really good in all of them. Great connections. Short enough price now, I have to say. She's come in a lot to order us out, but I can see her running a big race. The other one then, Justin's Decs, Paul Townend is riding Sony Bill. He doesn't really ride many handicappers. He'd won last year. Observe. The last time he ran in this, had a runner in this race was Gaelic Warrior, so they obviously must think. I suppose Townend must think he's worth getting on. So I think that's a tip in itself. Lows in this race I could have put up, but I'm going to stick with those two. I think Beyond Your Dreams is pretty solid. Yeah.
That's the only. I'm putting up Sonny Bill. The reason is he hadn't really been on my radar. I've been putting up Wendrock. I'll still have a bit on Wendrock probably, who's top weight in this. But it's the Paul Townend factor. I think in the last 3 festivals he's ridden 5 handicappers. 2 of them have won. Another one was Gaelic Warrior, who should have won. He just only rides them if they know there's bang loads in hand. Wendrock 29.0. So I definitely want him on side. So those are the 2 I'll probably back. In fact, I will back. National Hunt Chase. Matt, you kick us off. We both like this horse.
Yeah, Resplendent Grey. With a full field of 18, this should be a very different race from recent wheels, the level weights version. Small field, pretty steady gallop. It wasn't a test of stamina that the distance implies. I'm guessing that we're going to get a fair bit faster tempo now. His form, 2 runs at 3 miles, looks strong in the context of this. Extended 3 miles in November, he made a mistake 2 out, finished like a train to nearly catch Highland. I think with a good jump at the second last or over another half a furlong, he'd have won pretty cosily. Highland was giving him £3, but was a good second in the Courthouse Star, rated 147. Then went to the Grade 2 Isha and got tapped for toe when the pace quickened. But again, stayed on really powerfully to go down by only 3.5 lengths at levels to Handstands, who's now rated 154 after winning the Towton and Scilly Isles. Form got another boost at the weekend when Holy Smoke won at Sandown on an £8 higher mark than when Resplendent Grey beat him easily at Uttoxeter. So all that makes 142 look a good mark. Does shape as if a step up to a marathon trip will really suit him. And he'll also have the assistance of Sean Bowen. He's obviously riding really, really well at the moment. And his power pack finishing style could be crucial at the business end because there could be some tired horses at the end of this.
Yeah, I like him. Also, Jericho Rock is another one I want on side. Dave Neverson has spent a long time on Saturday taking me through the case for this horse. I like it. And crucially, David Pipe is coming into this festival in a lot better form than he has done for a while. Looking for a first festival success for some time, for 7 years. But then I think 3 of his last 4 winners have been in a Kimya and 2 in an Ultima. This is another staying chaser type with back form that's really solid. Sure, he has to be over his issues of a few years ago. His first start for a while seemed to indicate that, and he's just very well treated. So I definitely want him on side at around about 13.0. DC.
The first one I have is Captain Cody. Martin mentions him there in the comments. You can bring that up there in a second. But look, he's being entered for Michael O'Sullivan. They were going to skip it and go to one of the later spring festivals. But even besides that, I think he would have a great chance anyway. He's good solid horse, good jumper, would stay the distance, and he will be tuned up to the last when they'll be going all out to get this for what will be a very emotional winner if it does happen. The other one I like then is Heracles Westwood. I'd say the English could probably have the winner of this. I'd say there's been moving this to a handicap is really going to suit them, and he's just a horse that has run. He's been very, very, very solid all the way through the season. He caught my eye winning at Windsor in January. He beat Meyer Town was actually running in that race. The horse was probably going to run well in the Ultimate as well. I was watching him. He finished ahead of Jericho Rock and Kintara as well. But I liked the way he went through that race. I'd say Windsor, the way Windsor rides, because you're kind of always on the turn in it and it is kind of a sharp track. I'd say that form could translate well to Cheltenham, especially the old course. He's a big price. He's been solid all season. He finished third the last time. to Lord of Thunder and Pickrock, I think two decent horses, just didn't finish it out. I think it might have been very soft ground that day. But he's a big price, and they've booked Harry Cobden for it, which I think is a big thumbs up for his chances.
Okay, and that's us done, isn't it, on day one? Right. So, Matchbook Zero long shot. Remember, Matchbook Zero goes live an hour before each race. If you want a Cheltenham win bet, that is the place to go because you're most likely to get your best odds. A zero margin, zero commission. Mine's Jericho Rock at 12.0 in the National Hunt Chase. Matt?
Whistle Stop Tour in the Ultima.
And DC?
He's not as long a long shot as I'd like, but Krabilly in the Ultima 10.0.
Well, probably perfect. And then best lays. So I think you're observing from a similar hymn sheet, both of you. Matt, first of all.
Yeah, I do want to watch Kopech de Board in the preliminaries. If he's got himself in a state, I'd be prepared to lay him out at about 2.5.
Dees?
Yeah, I'd be the same. I'd lay him. I suppose if he's supported into odds on, I would be more worried about it, but I definitely am at even money. Just have even money to field, I think, is a great bet in the Supreme.
Day one best bets then. Mine is the day one double. It's obvious. Madborough Constitution Hill. It pays about 2.5, something like that. Madborough Constitution Hill. Line your pocket week, surely. So hoping that comes in, Matt.
Yeah, and he is odds on, but I just think Madborough is so much bigger than he should be that, you know, if you want to get some betting money for the week, smacking into him is a good idea.
DC?
Krabilly in the Ultimate.